Hello, I'm FactRetainer, and in this video I'll be showing you the loot room locations of all of the most dangerous POIs in 7 Days to Die. So if you're in the mood for choosing POIs and you just want to get straight to the good loot, then this is the video for you. Now let's jump straight in. We're going to start off with Vanity Tower. This one is nice and easy. Nerd pole your way up the building and stop when you get to the floor with the shiny lights. This is where all the lovely loot is. If you are very careful and you build some blocks across and you sort of hover around here roughly, then the zombies shouldn't trigger. That said, more often than not you will trigger them, so be careful. Despite being called Crackerbook HQ, there aren't as many books and magazines here as one might think. That said, there is good loot to be had. There are a couple of ways of doing this if you want to cheese it. The first is to make your way right here. Once you're at this location, break either of these two blocks and you will land right in the loot room. Just like most of the other difficult POIs, you will trigger a handful of zombies, so be mindful of that. Another way you can grab the main loot is by making your way through the front and down the stairs. You will trigger a lot more zombies, so keep that in mind. The final way I have to sort of cheese it is to make your way down the right hand side of the building and drill away at these here to get yourself inside this room. Once you're inside this room, then you are just a stone's throw away from the main loot. Dishong Tower is one of the classics. It is difficult to clear, and if you are new, then it's pretty difficult to navigate. However, if you just want the hardened chest and a couple of other loot pieces, then it's pretty easy. Make your way to this side of the building and nerd pole your way up, but make sure that you attach at least a couple of blocks to the building itself, just in case any pesky zombies come below and start slapping your blocks around. Make your way up to the very top floor and break these wooden panels here. Once you've broken them, head inside, and here's the main loot chest. The loot room for the 7 Day Suites is very easy to find. It is behind this window here. So, nice and simple. Unfortunately, and much less simple, this room will be filled with zombies. Now you have a couple of options. The first one is to break any two windows, because they have 3000 HP each, or come right behind here and make a hole here, and then you've got access to the main stash. You will have to forego this unless you are willing to kind of stealthily trim your way across, breaking down each block. And then there is a chance that you will set off the zombies regardless. That said, you should be able to nip in and out and grab this box pretty quickly without having to fire a single shot. The Haven Hotel is a huge complex that spans over multiple floors and all rooms look the same, making it pretty difficult to navigate. However, there is a nice and relatively painless way to grab the loot. I say relatively painless because you are going to have to trigger a pretty hefty swath of zombies in order to get it. When you get here, don't break these metal doors here because you'll need to break two of them. Instead, it's much faster to break down these two blocks here because they have 5000 durability or HP each. Once you've got through those, break this block here as I've already done, and it will give you access to this panel. You'll be able to press the button from here, it will open those doors, it'll open those doors. Once you've done that, just make your way down, and on your first left, you'll find zombies and you'll find loot. Because you have a clear path out, you can kind of usher them towards you, but keep in mind it's still going to be quite a battle, especially early on in a playthrough. I'm pretty certain that anybody who's ever gotten close to Grover High will know exactly where the loot room is, but I will show you anyway. It is the other side of the front door. Obviously, things aren't as straightforward as they seem. When you do break this door and go through, you will trigger an onslaught of undead, which is, it's not ideal, but the loot's good. If you are willing to stay a little bit longer, then make sure to check out the library, where there are quite a few book piles up for grabs. When it comes to grabbing the loot for Higashi Pharmaceuticals, the finding the loot is easy, the walking away with the loot alive is less so. But with that said, nerd pole your way up the building in any way you like, and once you've reached the top, be prepared with a good weapon, because they'll just start popping out left, right and centre. But make your way inside. This door is unlocked, as is the one in front of me now. Once inside, you'll see a button here. Once you press the button, that door will open, allowing you access to the loot room. To get to the loot room, go out and round this side, through here, and there you are. The Minotaur Theatre probably has more zombies per square inch than any other POI in the game. This is one of, if not the smallest, top tier POI, and it is filled with the buggers. If you want to make life slightly easier but still very dangerous, then make your way around to the back of the building and down the stairs. Here is a door, does not take long to break down, and once you've broken it, you can see the main loot here. Keep in mind, zombies everywhere. The Navezgane Athletics Complex is one of the more simple ones to navigate, however you will trigger a bunch of nasty zombies alongside a guaranteed demo. But the main loot room is located around the back, so make your way down the left side of the building and make your way over this fence. This will be locked, so you'll need to jump it or parkour your way, do whatever. Once you've got the other side, you can unlock it with this, which is great. Keep in mind you are going to trigger everybody around here, so that's not very fun. Bring a gun. Once you press this button here, you will trigger a few more friends who are usually hiding behind here, but I've turned them off. And you'll also find the loot room. It is in this room where you'll find the demo. Do not shoot its boom boom patch, otherwise you can say goodbye to a lot of this loot. Navezgane Corrections is a very large POI. However, the loot room is very easy to find. It is right below that big tower in the central building. Make your way along the rooftops and over to this area and then break any of the 2 windows. And then you're in the loot room. Nice and simple. Unlike Navezgane Corrections, Navezgane County Jail is a little bit more difficult and, well, a lot a bit more difficult. But make your way onto the roof here and there is a lovely hole. Drop down the hole and you'll see a hardened chest. The rest of the loot is up behind this unlocked door here. So that's all well and good, but since this is a prison or jail, there are quite a lot of military enemies in the area, and because you kind of have to drop down, you are a little bit at their mercy, so be extra careful. One quick tip when you get down here, this rubble down here prevents you from really building anything to go back up, so if you do have an auger or anything like that, then smash this up as quick as you can, so at least you can nerd pole your way out should things go wrong. I'm just going to take a quick second here to mention a new channel I'm working on called FactRetainer. It has nothing to do with 7 Days to Die, so if you're not interested then that's fine, the video will carry on in a second. If you haven't guessed by the name, it's all about random facts and learning and all that kind of stuff. If you are interested, then I'm going to put a clip at the very end of this video showing off about a minute or so from that channel. Now let's get back to it. The Ostrich Hotel is a big one, and well, it's not all that difficult to navigate. You do have to go in through the top, and the loot is right down the bottom, so it can be a bit time consuming. However, if you make your way down the side of the building, and next to the roller door, break this block here, as I've done, you will have access to this button. This button will bring up this door, giving you access to the garage here. You will trigger the main horde, so keep that in mind, but you can kind of run them around the building and pick them off as you go. The main loot is located at the back right hand side of the downstairs area. Provided that you don't make your way up the stairs here on either side, you shouldn't trigger any of the zombies above, just the ones in the garage below. When it comes to clearing the Pop and Pills factory, there are a couple of different options. The first is if you are lazy and you have an auger, then you can make your way into the first room, dispatch the couple of zombies that you'll find, and basically break any of the floor blocks beneath you. Keep in mind that each one of these blocks has 5000 HP, so you will need an auger or a really good axe. Once you've made your way through, you'll see the loot. If you do this method, you can grab the loot and just jump your way back up through the floor and away you go. Nice and simple. You will trigger a bunch of zombies down there, so keep that in mind. The second way is kind of similar to the first, but you make your way around the back of the building and you'll find a locked hatch. There's no point breaking the hatch because that just takes too long. Instead, break one of these concrete blocks and drop yourself down. Once you are down, press the button here to open up the hatch and you've got a quick escape. Once you're down, make your way through the door and down the stairs. You will see a couple of zombies, but nothing too difficult. This door will be unlocked. Make your way past the door and you'll be in the main loot room. This again will trigger a handful of zombies, so you will need to come in armed, but at least you have a pretty quick method of escape should things go wrong. Up next is 2-Bit Tower. Why anybody would want to loot this, I don't know, but if you really do want to loot this steaming pile of building, then make your way round to the left hand side and nerd pole your way up the side of the building. The loot is located on the roof, so you will trigger pretty much everybody and their relatives, so keep that in mind. One thing you can do is if you are very quick, you can come onto the roof, break down the bottom 2 rungs of the ladders and hop on top of here and fire from above. That said, they will just come up this way, but at least you'll have a little fighting path here. The loot room is down below, and you will need to press this little button here to open the doors to reveal the treasure. Up next we have US Army Post 7. It doesn't really matter how stealthy you are going to trigger a lot of enemies when you get to the main loot area. But if you do want to cut out all the enemies along the way, then make your way down this staircase and break this block here. Once you've done that, it will reveal this button on the other side that you can press and it'll open that door. The main loot is located here, but keep in mind that there are zombies everywhere and there will be a load of zombies behind this wall here. When it comes to the Dr. Karen Higashi residence, I couldn't really find a super straightforward way to get in. The best way is to quite literally do it in reverse. Head up onto the roof here, break down any of the 500 HP roof tiles, and break or open this cupboard here. Make your way down the ladders, and once you're down the ladders, follow the path and you will see a locked door. Similar to previous entries, you can just break these blocks here and make your way through. You will also need to break a pipe and you'll encounter a handful of zombies. However, once you are here, that's the main loot. Unfortunately, you will trigger all the zombies in the nearby area. I'm not sure whether that's the easiest way or whether the easiest way is just to make your way through the residence down here and then smash your way through these. I really don't know, it's kind of both the same-ish really. Maybe this one's slightly more favourable because at least you have a nice quick way out should things go wrong. The last Sunset Nursing Home is a fun one to clear and it has a really good Breaking Bad reference. I will put a link at the top of the screen to a video I did that contains that reference, but putting that to one side, to get to the main loot, you'll need to come down these stairs around the back of the building. Completely ignore what I've done here because I miscalculated. Break these 2 blocks here, not the 2 I've broken. Once you've broken them, make your way past this. It will set you on fire, which is never a good thing, but as long as you're quick, it's not going to slow you down, and just take a drink afterwards. Once you've made your way across this room, activate this valve here. That'll turn all the fires off, and then you can grab the loot. There will be a couple of zombies either side of these here, so make sure you take care of those, but they're not usually that difficult. It's usually just nurses and whatnot. It's pretty straightforward. And then you've got the lovely loot, which you can grab and make your way out the door. The Red Mesa Compound is a really fun one to clear, but it is a bit of a maze down there. If you do just want to grab the main loot, then make your way along here and up onto this roof. Once you're on this roof, don't break the hatch. Instead, break this block here or any of these concrete blocks. What that'll do is it will give you a good visual on the room below, and it will activate the zombies, especially if you start shooting down on them. However, by the time they've broken the hatch, you'd have most likely killed them all. So then you can come down and grab the loot. Up next is Shamway Factory. This one is pretty difficult to navigate and it is very difficult to clear. If you do just want to grab the loot, nobody would blame you. Come around the side here and in between these vents that are sticking up here, build yourself a lovely little tower going all the way up. You will trigger a couple of zombies here, maybe a couple of vultures, but nothing too difficult. Once you're at the top here, you have a couple of options. Option A, which is not recommended, that is go through this door here, and this floor will immediately break, and you'll be at the mercy of the zombies. You will also get to see the loot room, so that's nice. Option B is to make your way around to the other side here, and make a lovely little nerd pole all the way up this tower. You might need to do a little bit of jumping around. It can be a little bit tricky to get up, but if you make yourself a little platform and then come out a block, you won't have any issues making it to the very top of the tower, not that you'd need to. Once you've made your way up to this part of the tower, go in through this door here, and then go down. Keep in mind that once you reach the bottom here, you will have a couple of zombies, but nowhere near as many as if you'd gone the other way. This door here is only at about 1000 HP, so a few good smacks with a mining tool will break it, but instead of breaking it, shoot through at a couple of zombies that you might see down there, and let them do the breaking. That way you've got some time to make your way up the ladders and hit them as they come up. Hitting them one by one as they make their way up the ladder is a lot easier than falling down the other side and ending up in a sea of zombies. The Shotgun Messiah factory is another one that is incredibly difficult to navigate. Thankfully, the loot is surprisingly easy to grab. Make your way around the side of the building and nerd pole your way up until you're on top of this. This should not trigger any zombies, as long as you're a little bit stealthy. There will normally be a handful of zombies down below you, so get to the very edge and make yourself a tower. The height doesn't really matter, but the higher the better, in my opinion. Once you're satisfied with the height, you can build about 7 blocks out before things start to get a little bit dangerous. When you see this wall here, place a block coming out and then hop onto it. Jump up a few blocks and then jump out a couple of blocks, go all the way up to the top, and you'll see the loot. You will want to place at least one supporting connection here for the wall, otherwise this tower will collapse because there's no support underneath this part here. But once you're on the top, there's usually only a handful of zombies and they're really not difficult to take out. You can grab this loot and then just go back down in reverse, and yeah, lovely loot for very little work. So I hope you found this video interesting. If there are any other POIs that you'd like me to show off, maybe you want me to do tier 4 POIs or whatever, then let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you found any easier ways to cheese your way through to the end loot room of any difficult POI, then also let me know. Thanks as always for watching, and if you do want to stay to watch that clip should start playing now. Successful fighters would endorse products. Similar to content creators today, gladiators would get sponsored by local businesses. These sponsors were very lucrative for the fighters. From food to clothing, various businesses would pay athletes to endorse their product. The better the fighter, the better the endorsements.